This video breaks down two incredible women's 800-meter races, one featuring world-class stars battling for victory, and another showcasing rising talents fighting to prove themselves. From tactics and pacing to explosive final kicks, you'll see how different strategies lead to the same dramatic finish.
Adele Tracy of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, third at the UK Championships. This is the big race for the British athlete. She's contesting for the one remaining place in Britain's European Championship squad. Then the tall figure of Christina Herring of Germany, 4 times the German indoor champion, semi-finalist in Rio at the Olympics, 2 minutes exactly .48 this season. Then Raven Rogers of the USA, second at the US Championships, 158.57, a lifetime best this season. Anna Sabat of Poland, Polish indoor champion last year and this year, in personal best form, 201.9 this season. Samoya Campbell of Jamaica. She's lining up in this event after scratching from the 1500 meters yesterday. Rivalry of France starts in lane number 2, 2:02.55. That's what she's done this season, the French athlete. The women's 800 meters. That's Adele Tracy. She was one of the secret 7 young athletes who lit the 2012 Olympic cauldron here. That was 6 years ago. Now, she's one of the best that we have in Britain. So on paper, Raven Rogers of the USA, 5th at the World Indoor Championships in Birmingham a few months ago. It's increased her speed over 400 meters this year to just over 52 seconds, Rogers. So she's the quickest on paper, but down the back straight for the first time. Keep an eye on Britain's Adele Tracy. A good run by Lindsay Sharp in Rabat a couple of days ago. That third place up for grabs to potentially join Laura Muir and Shalana Oshigan-Clark, but it's the French athlete who's happy to take this one up, followed by Tracy of Great Britain and Northern Ireland.
Yes, Boufariran keeping it really reasonably honest, and Adele Tracy, who is knocking on the door of breaking 2 minutes, staying very close to her, running a smart race here. To be fair though, Raven Rogers almost 2 seconds better than anybody else this year. The American there in 3rd place, looking very cool. The gap though to the leading pair is about 4 or 5 meters at the bell, and they come through, and that's a solid 400-meter time, Catherine, 59.79.
Well, it is. We've got a breakaway at the moment. Rogers will be keeping track behind Herring, the German, in 3rd. The American's got a bit of work to do. But down the back straight, it's France against Great Britain and Northern Ireland. She looks like she's smiling, Adele Tracy, but she's putting some work in here. Raven Rogers now trying to make a move. The Britain goes into the lead with 200 meters to go. Britain, France, United States of America and Jamaica. The crowd rise to their feet and rise the volume for their British athlete. But here comes Raven Rogers, the American. The Jamaicans following her. Tracy into the home straight. But here comes the fastest in the field, Raven Rogers. On her way to 8 points for the American team. A fast finish from the German, Herring in 4th. The Britain will hold on for 2nd. But America take the win, 2 minutes .2. A 59.7 lap, a 60-second lap at the end, and another American victory here, and just outside the magical 2-minute barrier for the American.
Well, she just oozed confidence, didn't she, Raven Rogers? Through that first lap, didn't mind being 5, 6, 7 meters down at the bell. The 400-meter time was pretty quick by Boufariran of France, who ended up in 6th place in 2:06. It was maybe a little bit optimistic for an athlete with a best of outside 2:02. Raven Rogers there, producing the goods for the USA, who just go on and on, racking up the points. Adele Tracy, I thought she might be under real threat there coming down the home straight, but Samoya Campbell had hit the blocks too, and they were both flat out through the last 50 or 60 meters. So good points for Britain.
Yeah, you see on the replay, Tracy did nothing wrong for Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Just shy of her lifetime best, coming in 2nd at 2:01.05. But Raven Rogers, 21 years old, 5 times the US collegiate champion, represented the University of Oregon, an Oregon Duck. They're very excited about her in America, and I can understand why. A controlled win and a good win again for America.
Yeah, really good leg speed from Raven Rogers. Don't forget she's run 158.5 this year. She is in the world top 10 for 2018 and frankly totally controlled that race. But Adele Tracy giving everything, gritting throughout that last 200, and that was a sterling effort.
So you can probably hear a little bit of Michael Jackson going around the London Stadium here this evening. But she started the interviews already, Raven Rogers, about her experience here at the London Stadium. Confirmation of the women's 800 metres then. A win for Rogers, 2 minutes, 0.2. Good points for Great Britain and Northern Ireland for Adele Tracy. And Campbell of Jamaica picks up.
Women's 800 metre races, which is an absolute treat. One of the most entertaining events out there in track and field. Going on the outside with Nicola Pisova was going to be doing the pacemaking. You can see a Sturm, first of the athletes here for Germany. Personal best in her last race 3 weeks ago, 2:1:77. Fiona van Fuel of Switzerland takes lane 5. She's just 17 years old. 1 second improvement this year, and that's on top of personal bests in 400 and 1500, 2:02:86. Her best, and perhaps a target here this evening. There is a European Junior Championships this season happening in August. There's a few weeks left to go for that, but Van Fuel, that 2:02, could be very competitive there. As could Lila Belshaw of Great Britain, European under-18 champion last year, and she just set a new personal best over 1500 metres of 4:09 in Watford, and she's pretty much equalled her 800 metre personal best right on that 2:02 high. Michelle Grobley of Switzerland goes in lane 3. 400 metre specialist turned into an 800 metre runner. We're going to see a whole load of those in the next in this race and in the A race coming up at the end of the programme. But Grobley has her best down to 2:03 so far. I think there'll be loads of athletics fans delighted to see Anita Henriksdottir of Iceland back on the start lines. The World Youth and European Junior Champion, European Indoor Championship bronze medalist back in 2017, is finding some form. She's down to 2:03 so far this year. Alicia Schmidt goes in lane 1 for Germany. This is her first full season as an 800 metre runner. 52-second runner for 400 metres, so it's a brave move to abandon an event that you're competent in and comfortable with and launch out into the double lap. But Alicia Schmidt is giving it a good go. Best of 2:04.5 so far this year. Henriksdottir, 2:05, her lifetime best set back in 2017. Would love to get below that 2:03. She's been stuck on that 2:03 for a few years. Henriksdottir took a good win in the Oslo B race at the Diamond League. It's just fantastic to see her competing and racing. This is an aggressive start from Van Fuel, the Swiss athlete, the youngster. I mentioned that 400 metre personal best, so plenty of leg speed for her. I do think there'll be a bit of a junior battle going on between Belshaw and Van Fuel. Very interesting to see how they match up, having probably raced domestically for most of the season. But a swift opening 200 metres for these athletes, 27 seconds. The pace that's been asked for is 59. But I think Pisova of the Czech Republic had to work hard to get ahead of all these athletes. It's Lucia Sturm of Germany who's put herself up in front of the rest of the races. Mentioned that new personal best, 2:01.77. That's 3 weeks old now, so Sturm's had a bit of time to train. Good time to get on top of that form and build on it. Could be why she's going so aggressively through this first lap. Let's have a look at the split through 400 metres. 57.8. That's mighty fast for these women. I think Anita Henriksdottir and perhaps Alicia Schmidt have played this right. Hanging at the back of the field here, just relaxing somewhat. And perhaps the likes of Grobley as well. Just running a patient race here. Grobley going the first to go past Van Fuel. And there's a response here from Lucia Sturm as the pacemaker drops to one side. Lila Belshaw of Great Britain has moved so well in this third 200 metres. Lila Belshaw on the shoulder of Sturm. And there's a big move, a response from Van Flue, the young Swiss athlete. It's the under-20s flanking Lucia Sturm, and Lila Belshaw, fresh off that 4:09 personal best in 1500 metres, has launched into the lead with 150 to go. These three pulling clear of the rest of the field. Alicia Schmidt just starting to struggle ever so slightly. Henriksdottir trying to launch a finish down the home straight. Lila Belshaw looks absolutely full of running though. She hits 50 metres to go. The clock at 1:55. This could be a lovely run for Lila Belshaw. Whatever it is, it's a good victory, a well-judged tactical race for Lila Belshaw. 2:02.03, that's a new lifetime best for the junior by nearly a second. A patient run from Belshaw. She put herself in a good position. Probably one of her fastest first 400 metre splits ever. But she didn't falter. She held her nerve. And that's a great run from Belshaw as she looks towards those European Junior Championships to take place in Tampere in Finland in a few weeks' time. Sturm, so much of the early running rewarded with second place 2:02.59. Von Flew, a personal best for that junior as well, 2:02.64. A lower 2:03 for Henriksdottir, who's still moving in the right direction. And you know what? Anita Henriksdottir there, that is the fastest time she's run in 7 years. Lovely to see the Icelandic athlete mixing it with these athletes here today. You can see the pacemaker just saying, did I really have to go 27 to get ahead of you lot? And that pacemaking will be fine when we look towards the A race that's coming up in about 50 minutes, 40 minutes or so. But Lila Belshaw emptying the tank for a new personal best. And Alicia Smith might have hit a new personal best as well. 2:03.21 for Schmidt. So definitely a season's best, and it could be a lifetime best for her as well. Post-race debrief immediate. These athletes. Yeah. There's a look at the results. Lila Belshaw, new personal best, 2:02.01. Sia Stern, 2:02.59. Fiona von Flew, a personal best as well, 2:02.64. Anita Henriksdottir, her fastest time in 7 years, 2:03.04. Alicia Schmidt, 2:03.21.
The women's 800 meters continues to prove why it is one of the most unpredictable and tactically complex events in athletics. 2 recent races, one at the Athletics World Cup in London and another at a European meeting featuring rising talents, perfectly illustrate how different generations approach the same distance, yet arrive at equally dramatic outcomes. In London, the race carried the weight of international rivalry. The United States, Great Britain, and Jamaica each brought athletes capable of controlling the race in different ways. Raven Rogers entered as the standout favorite, combining a sub-1:59 personal best with exceptional 400-meter speed. Her strategy was clear from the start: remain composed, avoid early chaos, and rely on her devastating finishing kick. Great Britain's Adele Tracy, meanwhile, had different priorities. For her, this was not just about winning, but about proving consistency at the highest level. She positioned herself closer to the front, attentive and ready to respond to any shift in pace. Jamaica's Samoya Campbell added another layer to the race, known for her tactical awareness and ability to strike at precisely the right moment. The first lap in London unfolded at 59.79 seconds, a pace that demanded respect but didn't break the field. The positioning, however, told a deeper story. Rogers sat several meters behind, trusting her speed, while Tracy and others maintained forward positions to avoid traffic. As the bell rang, the race was perfectly balanced between patience and urgency. In contrast, the European meeting showcased a completely different dynamic, one driven not by established stars, but by ambition and development. Here, the race was less about calculated restraint and more about testing limits. Nikolikova took on pacemaking duties, immediately injecting intensity into the race. This decision shaped everything that followed. Germany's Lucia Sturm responded boldly, taking the lead early and refusing to settle into a passive role. Her approach reflected a key difference between emerging athletes and seasoned professionals, a willingness to risk everything for improvement. Behind them, a group of young talents, including Leah Belshaw and Fiona von Fuel, adopted a more measured strategy. They stayed patient, conserving energy while observing the leaders, waiting for the decisive moment when the race would inevitably open up. What makes these two races so compelling when compared is not just the level of performance, but the contrast in race philosophy. In London, experience dictated control. Every move was calculated. Athletes like Rogers understood that the 800 meters is often decided not in the first 600 meters, but in the final 200, and everything was built around that reality. Energy conservation, positioning, and timing were executed with precision. In the European race, however, the unpredictability came from ambition. The early pace was more aggressive, the positioning more fluid, and the decision-making less conservative. Athletes like Sturm weren't afraid to lead early, even at the risk of fading, because for them, progression mattered as much as placement. Yet despite these differences, both races converged on the same truth. The final phase decides everything. Whether it was Rogers preparing her late surge against seasoned international competitors, or the younger athletes timing their kicks after a demanding early pace, the last 200 meters transformed both races into all-out battles. Form, fatigue, and mental strength collided in those closing seconds. Ultimately, these races highlight the evolution of the women's 800 meters. At the elite level, it is a game of precision and patience. At the developmental level, it is a test of courage and growth. But in both cases, success belongs to those who can balance speed, strategy, and timing under pressure. And that is what makes the 800 meters truly special. No matter the stage, no matter the names, the outcome is never certain until the very last stride.